Let's take a look at 2018 question number 1. This happens to deal in the beginning of the problem, happens to talk about this cinema that has monopoly power here. All right, and this monopoly power that it has gives it the ability to kind of be the price maker and run the show in town. It says something like there's no lack of effective substitutes. It gives the cinema the monopoly power in this small town. It says, assume the single cinema is a profit maximizing firm and currently operates at a negative economic profit in the short run. Okay, so which is a little bit different. Monopoly is usually making profit, but here they're asking to draw it making negative profit. So 1A says, draw a correctly labeled graph for single cinema and show each of the following. A1 says the profit maximizing price and quantity of tickets labeled PM and QM respectively, and then the area representing the negative economic profit shaded incompletely. So one of the first things we want to do is show that show the monopoly. So this is 1A 1. Okay, let's draw this out here. Quantity, demand curve, marginal revenue curve right here. Okay, and in drawing this out, we want to make sure that we have the marginal revenue curve below the demand curve. That's how it operates in a monopoly. Now they're asking us to label a few things. First of all, let's draw that marginal cost curve. All right, marginal cost curve. And because we know that marginal cost where it crosses marginal revenue is where we're actually going to be producing, I think they want us to label it QM, and we go all the way up to the top here, hitting the demand curve. That helps us set our price, which they want us labeling it PM. Okay, and now that it's making negative profit here, we need to make sure that the ATC ends up falling above the price, and there it is right there, our ATC crossing the MC at its lowest point. We could go up here and hit the ATC, and if we go over there, okay, this is where we're actually showing that shaded area of that negative loss. Okay, so I think they want us to shade in where that is, and make sure that we can show the scores and indicate to them where the actual loss is. So I'm gonna shade that area of loss in there, and I'm just gonna write loss like that. Okay. B wants us to answer the question of explaining why single cinema continues to operate in the short run despite earning negative economic profit in the short run. And for that answer, I'm going to write B here. Price is above the average variable cost. Okay, on here. C says, would single cinema's total revenue increase, decrease, or stay the same if it decides to sell fewer tickets than QM? All right, so one of the things we want to look at here is it's asking us to determine just what's going to take place here. One of the things that happens here with C is that I'm just going to draw the total revenue curve here, okay? And remember, at MR, okay, that's our peak revenue, all right? That's our total, if we were to go this route right here, this right here, when MR is 0, that means that everything to the left of that, if we were to move this quantity down, all right, we would see a decrease in total revenue. Okay. The easiest way to explain this is that it's going to, let's say this right here, total revenue decreases. All right, making sure that you understand that this is the total revenue curve right here, and at marginal revenue, all right, when marginal revenue is 0, if we were to move to the left, quantity were to decrease, we would see a decrease in total revenue. We also want to understand that one of the reasons being is because marginal revenue is positive here, all right, because is positive, okay, and that's C. D asks the question, single cinema hires workers in a perfectly competitive labor market. So let's look at the labor market real quick. Here's wages, quantity, this is the market, and perfectly competitive labor market, this is the firm, okay? And looking at this perfectly competitive labor market, we need to understand that quantity of labor here, let me just, quantity of labor. When we look at this in a perfectly, we're going to have a demand for labor and a supply of labor in the labor market. And that supply and demand for labor is going to determine the quantity of workers hired and the wages. I should put the wage here, wages that they're being paid. The firm hires at that point where the wage is set by the market for the marginal costs right here, the marginal factor costs, and we also have the downward sloping for the marginal revenue product. All right, and this is the quantity right here where marginal factor cost equals the marginal revenue product. This is the quantity of labor that the firm will hire, okay, at this wage. Now, what they're saying that takes place is that suppose the number of workers available in the market decreases. Well, a few things that are going to happen here. Looking at is the amount of workers in the labor market is decreasing for whatever reason. People are moving out of town or whatever it happens to be. That is going to affect the supply of labor, okay? So the supply of labor shifts, meaning that the quantity of workers are going to change, okay, decrease, less people out there. They become more valuable. The wage is going to increase here, okay? Make sure I got this right. D1, the wage rate increases, okay? D says, what will happen to the marginal revenue product of the last worker hired? Because the market supply has shifted left, has decreased, so the wage rate goes up, all right? I'll put that in there because has decreased. Okay, 2. All right, we can see that when they're asking the question, what will happen to the marginal revenue product of the last worker hired? The marginal revenue product, if you could just take a look at this, marginal factor cost 2, okay, this goes up here. Look what happened. The marginal revenue product for the last worker hired has increased, okay? So the product for last worker has increased because the firm is hiring less workers, so the marginal revenue product will increase with the last worker hired. All right. Okay, that's 2018 question number 1. All right, take care.